The Spread Show.
Welcome to a very special edition of The Spread, aka The Work, our 2019 wrestling year in review. We have everyone here.
Yeah.
Very surprising. Me, Ant, Rich, and Jim. We've been working on this for a little bit. Jim, you put together possibly the greatest Google Doc of all time, which was really nice. I've never seen so much stuff color-coded and really just patterned out this way. And you had our last year's stuff too, which was fun to look back on.
Yeah.
So we'll go over that stuff. We'll go over our best of the year, some predictions that we made. But overall, I think we just want to talk and see what the hell happened in 2019, right?
Yeah.
Not much.
So we obviously had some big things at AEW pop up. Lots of player movement, as they would say in the biz, and just a lot of general out of the ring news, I would say. Correct?
Yeah, it was a lot of like the stuff we didn't think would happen, and then the things we expected to happen didn't. The whole year just felt like it was basically like the wait, what kind of moment, like perpetually.
Yeah. Yes, I agree. That happened way too much for not in the ring. Actually, with WWE, there was a lot of that in the ring too. So I'll give them that. What do you want to do first? I kind of wanted to talk just a little bit about 2019, the new stuff, the weird stuff, just a couple things that we had all as takeaways. And my takeaway, I guess there was a few, but the whole AEW thing was obviously awesome.
Yep.
To see another promotion pop up that had money behind it. And I think the biggest thing for me in reviewing this stuff for the last 2 weeks was that New Japan was actually incredible and blew everyone out of the water.
Not
Yeah.
slept on, huh?
Yeah,
So many other things
unbelievable.
happening.
So that surprised me the most. I'm resubscribing to New Japan for Wrestle Kingdom. So, and you know everyone else can sit on the back seats. For me, it's just New Japan and NXT right now. So those are my two biggest stories, and then obviously, you know, we have a couple moments and stuff we'll talk about in our awards, but those are the two things that stuck out the most. What about you, Rich? What were just a couple things for you that were like, I don't know, just stuck out?
Kind of like I don't know whether it was a rise or the return of Ospreay being
What?
the rise of Ospreay.
I can't hear you, brother.
Oh, wait, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm talking about like the rise or the return of Ospreay to being top 3 in the world for me.
Yeah,
Like,
he was absolutely
His
insane.
stretch of like 2 months, he was trying to break necks and just
His own neck sometimes.
It was insane. His every match was just like, wow, like I don't know how he's doing this.
I think he stuck out the most for me, and I don't know if you'll agree with this, Jim, but on the main stages, I feel like it wasn't as impactful in ring, and everything Ospreay did was really next level. But this wasn't like a great year of like iconic matches.
I think there were a lot of iconic matches out there that happened this year, but I think the volume of them kind of lowered the bar to a certain
Right.
extent, where you're just like, wow. I mean, we look at like Wednesdays, right? Like just every week since October, lots of great wrestling, and you're just like, holy cow, it's almost like a sensory overload to a certain extent. We're so inundated with really, really good wrestling that it's kind of as a whole making it kind of seem not as great.
Do you feel like you're going to go back and watch these years like the, you know, some of those Bullet Club Kenny years or some of the Okada years? Like, are you going to go back and, I mean, because for me, it's going to be some Ospreay stuff, but some of the major actual stars in the business this year didn't really produce to their usual level. So that's kind of what I just feel like it was not a down year. It was still a good year, but it just wasn't like one of those years where it's like, okay, I'm going to go back and watch because this year was insane from bell to bell.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of those matches from this year's G1, this year's Super J Cup, and Best of Super Juniors that are definitely ones that are going to hold up a little bit. You're going to want to go back and watch them a couple times at least. But there's also
Definitely.
just been a lot of really good matches that I haven't had a chance to see. Like stuff that was at the Scenic City Invitational that I still need to get around to. A lot of stuff happening on the independent scene. It might be a little bit harder just because there's so much out there that I still want to see and trying to catch up on that.
That makes sense. Um, did you have anything else besides Osprey, Rich?
Just the Wednesday Night Wars. Like it's well for that first
That
month
it exists?
just that it exists in general. Like I thought they'd get TNT, but I didn't really think they'd get TNT. If that really makes
You
like
were hoping for
I
it?
was hoping for it, but I was like, it's gonna be like on El Rey Network or something like that. I was like, but then all of a sudden you hear the rumble-ins, and you're like, they're really gonna get it, and then they got it, and I was like, fuck, you're gonna see them on NBA, inside of the NBA. They're gonna have promos when they run the NBAs on Thursday night games, and they're really here. And then Moxley showed up. Jericho's the champion, and just I don't know, just weird. And I can't wait to see when the contracts do expire next year because there's some interesting names that I'm excited to see what they do.
For sure. Yeah, no, I mean that obviously you don't get this this kind of buzz every year
Yeah.
in the wrestling world. What about you, Ant? Did you have a couple things that you're just in or out on?
Keeping true to being a WWE guy, I thought it was kind of an interesting year, especially with the World Championship, with their main title. Without Roman kind of being pushed down our throat, I feel like we've seen a lot of highs, and I feel like there were some lows in them kind of still searching to fill the gap and find that guy. I don't know. I thought it was an interesting year as far as that World Heavyweight Championship. Some ups and some downs, some good experiments, and some stuff that didn't go as well.
Yeah, I think we always have to look back at WrestleMania season. It was a really good build.
Yeah.
And there were some good things that happened during Mania too. So I think when you look at where it counted for WWE, they did have some good hits this year.
True.
There's a lot to just completely skip though. But yeah, I mean, as far as I don't think we technically are going to be going over any like promotion of the year award, right, Jim? It's mostly the show.
Yeah, I think the only one we have is like pay-per-view or show of the year.
What would you guys say like is your show or your I guess brand of the year?
Oh, mine's NXT.
Really? Yeah. I could see that. NXT had I actually had less expectation for NXT this year. I feel like their roster was deep but not as
Top
star-studded.
heavy,
Yeah. And they just kept adding people and it seemed like some guys were never going to get a chance.
Creating
Or-
more stars.
Yeah. And then it's like I don't know, they just did it. They just were able to continue their success, even like bumping into the Wednesday night thing and running bigger venues, kind of losing that early NXT feel.
Yeah.
I think they still had a really great year. Very surprising that they were able to keep this momentum for so long with WWE hanging over the top of them.
Yeah. And well, it was weird because in the beginning of the year, March, all of a sudden Vince is like, "Hey, Triple H, I need your 5 best guys."
Yeah.
And
You tricked them though.
Yeah.
Right? You tricked them and gave them the fake best guys at first, and then, or that was in like February,
Yeah,
right?
February. And then,
Yeah.
So they had Ricochet, like Aleister Black.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then DIY. And
Yep.
then I was like, thank God he didn't send like Velveteen and them up.
Oh God,
Because
yeah,
Vince would have been like, oh, no, I'm keeping him.
yeah.
I do think the brand, for me, it has to be AEW. I mean,
Yeah.
we kind of lose sight of we're putting them hand in hand with NXT and WWE, but for a new brand just to hop on TNT like that and go mainstream and still get the numbers that they did, and they're continuing to do good. Like we said, we keep doing it week to week as compared to NXT, but for a brand to just hop in like that, I think it's AEW.
Yeah, both of those brands should be just super proud of what they're doing. Especially, yeah, like Ant said, AEW. It's brand new. A lot of those guys didn't have a ton of exposure before coming over. Like their main stars were pretty over with wrestling fans, but casual, who knows? I know their numbers are like up and down. They're dipping, and people are starting to like kind of chill on them, but
just overall, as
Yeah.
far as cable television goes,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a huge number.
definitely successful, and they have a lot of guys they can throw at you in the future.
And they popped that was the first 1.2 million.
Yeah,
I
they put big numbers up.
Yeah, I was
and
like, holy hell! Like I
It's-
thought they would get like 900, 800K.
And one thing they've
got
stayed
that
true
number.
to is, they haven't panicked or anything. They've kind of
Yeah.
stayed the course and are giving you their young guys and still trying to develop these guys and kind of show you who they are.
I think, that weekly television, that's just impossible almost. But as long as your pay-per-views deliver,
Yeah.
I think that's what they're great at. And all those guys are big pay-per-view guys.
Well-
So, what about you, Jim?
Well, and to kind of go off of Ant's point, I mean, if we look at the bigger picture outside of just October, since the announcement,
Moxtober.
yeah,
Sorry.
like since AEW was announced, how many things have shifted in the world of professional wrestling that may not have shifted otherwise? Would we have had NXT moving to USA? Would we have had
Yeah.
big talent like John Moxley leaving? There's all these just questions that come up, and it's something you see like Brian Alvarez and Dave Meltzer get all the time. It's like, oh, what happened if they wouldn't have done this and this and this? And it's one of those things where it's just like, you don't know, but we do know that just the sheer announcement caused waves and changes
Yeah.
to happen.
Because it even affected New Japan. New Japan got hot at them for a minute.
Seriously.
Too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And look at ROH now.
Oof.
That
Yeah.
whole promotion is just I'm not the talent, like there's still very talented people there, but that place has gone into a complete free fall. Joey Mercury is murdering them on Twitter, and
Kelly
that
Klein.
showing
Yeah.
in New York that you guys were hyped about, New Japan killed it.
Yeah.
ROH, what the fuck are you doing? Like that was like the beginning of the end for ROH. I feel not necessarily, but that was like a very public beginning of the end for ROH, despite them having
Pivotal
talent.
moment.
ROH had such a bad year that you forget that Impact was on a channel where like most of its programming was like DIY hunting.
Yeah, that's super strange. It sucks for such an iconic wrestling brand of the modern era, at least, to just fall apart like that.
And so quickly, I felt like.
Yeah, it just happened fast. There was too many contracts getting snapped up, and I don't think they really carved out an identity either.
Yeah.
Because I think ROH fans always will be fine with those longer technical matches, and it's just like, we got to get stars, we got to get people and get some talent in here, and it's like, I don't know if you can have a niche, like you can be NWA, look at what they're doing.
Yeah.
TNA or Impact has completely reinvented themselves into a very solid promotion. So a lot of good wrestling, and ROH just couldn't figure out how to do it. Anything else for 2019, Jim?
Yeah, I think my biggest takeaway from 2019 was talent finding new creative freedom, like across the board. If you look at like John Moxley, I think John Moxley's probably the biggest example, where he got out of the WWE system. He makes one appearance in Vegas, and you feel everything change. You see a guy who has that zeal, that thirst, hunger for what he loves. You see Jericho managed to get like an 8-word line over and sell it at like $49 a bottle. Like,
Right.
like, and then even if you look at like NWA, like Aaron Stevens, the former Damian Sandow, he's doing some incredible things creatively on that show. Like, it's been really interesting to watch all these guys kind of get out of their old system and into something new, and to a certain extent kind of reinvent themselves.
And I think some promotions just doing that too, like NWA, the way they present themselves, incredible. Impact did something similar where they just did that whole show, and like that stuff's cool, man. Like you have to change stuff, and you have to be unique. You can't just keep trotting the same thing out there all the time, and that's how these, I guess, smaller companies, you could say, are going to get over with the fans. It's going to be really cool to hopefully see talent keep doing that or getting creative license. I don't know when that started. Maybe it could have really started from Matt Hardy just going all out with the broken stuff at Impact, and other people saying, you know what, we should try other stuff. If it works, it works. It's really weird that WWE, when they do that, it turns out into a cuck angle, but, I don't understand how that works. But otherwise, I think it's been a very good year for creativity
Well,
for sure.
well, you see, brother, when you're running one cuck angle, the best thing to do is run a concurrent cuck angle, and that's going to pop the numbers. That's definitely not going to cause like 500,000 people to stop watching your show every week.
I mean, you're really there for the beginning and the end of the cuck angles. Everyone knows that.
The one other thing I had for 2019 is the rise of more than one super indie. So like, this might be a little bit obscure for some of our listeners, but for a lot of years, PWG has been the predominant, like, that's your go-to next level independent wrestling promotion, right? That's where you have Bola. You get a lot of the people we see on the main stage of WWE at one point came through PWG.
Pretty much all of NXT is top guys right now. Yeah.
The rise of Game Changer Wrestling and Beyond Wrestling, I think, have been absolutely incredible. A lot of the talent you're now seeing on AEW every week, like the Butcher and the Blade, Joey Janela, Chris Statlander, they're all people who came through those systems. And now we're getting to a point where we have multiple like top level independent promotions that we're going to see a lot of future stars come through. So that's going to be kind of cool. It's almost like AAA baseball, where you're just watching this guy's like, this guy's got a mean curveball. This guy's going to be great. And you just get to see that now with professional wrestling, which is something I don't know outside of NXT that we've really gotten to see over the last few years.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you there. The indies, like in general, have been fantastic. And now you're seeing some contracts pop up for a lot of guys where it's like, they might not actually sign anywhere. Like, go somewhere else, build your value even more.
Yeah.
Just traveling the indies and still make a ton of money and get better exposure.
There's no longer just one option in professional wrestling.
Yeah. The indie thing has been really crazy. I never thought that I'd be interested in going to an indie show possibly in like Seattle or Portland. But now it actually, like, if I'm there, I'm like, wow, I wonder if I could go to one today. That'd be really cool because there's so many. You hear about all these names and they travel all around. These promotions have been really good about getting top indie guys to come in, or top guys that will be signed to come in along with the local talent. It's been pretty crazy. I really never saw that coming, especially with all of these promotions popping up, especially the major ones and all the signing that's going on. I never thought hey, I don't need a contract. I'm just going to travel around. I never thought that'd pop up.
It's a weird throwback to the old territory days to a certain extent, where you can have someone like, let's take El Phantasmo for an example. One weekend he could be working for New Japan, and then the next weekend he could end up being working for Revolution Pro or Defy or really anywhere. You wouldn't have seen this even 3 years ago.
Yeah, it's amazing. And then it's kind of ironic that you brought up PWG, but I know that American Legion Hall or wherever they have their events, they closed that down finally.
Yep.
But it's like a gateway. It's like it opened up this gateway for the indies to just spread out everywhere. So super cool. I'm glad that everyone's getting a chance to watch wrestling at a good price, high quality wrestling with good views, all that fun stuff. So that's cool.
Joey Ryan's the one with the bar wrestling, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Those cards are always stacked.
Yeah, they're always fun.
And some of these other companies, are looking at it and the talent are looking at it and saying, okay, I could go to WWE and that's where I'm going to be and I'll get paid or whatever. Or I could go maybe to AEW, or I can go to Impact or somewhere else and also work at another one of these big companies. Having those contracts where you can go either way, that's amazing.
Yeah.
It can be scary. I've been hearing that John Moxley has an out after a certain month next year, which could be kind of scary. He can opt out essentially out of his contract. If the things are not going well, that would be a bad look. He'd probably just go do more New Japan. But the fact that he can go work New Japan and Jericho can work New Japan, that's wild. That's not an option in WWE.
Yeah, can you imagine?
It was hard enough for those guys to go back down to NXT.
Yeah.
He's gonna be Jericho is the champion, the face of AEW right now, and he's gonna be in the co-main event of New Japan.
Insane.
Wrestle Kingdom, and I was like, he better not be doing the favors.
well, even that. They have a show on January 1st, and then both Jericho and Moxley will go over to have matches at Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah,
Incredible.
that's awesome. So what next? What are we doing next, Jim? You've got the list, the key, and the notes.
The list?
Well, since we're talking about 2019, let's. I think we should take a step back and look at how many things we got wrong about this year from our
I
predictions.
love it. You always got to start with wrong. You don't want to be like, look, we were right about this, this, and this. I don't want to be Meltzer. I want to be wrong here.
Yeah.
I want to see how close we were. That's it. We're playing horseshoes.
So, to remind the listeners who might not remember our show from like 12 months ago, basically the way predictions worked is everyone got 3 at varying levels a lock. This might happen I'm going to take a shot in the dark and hope something hits. Who do we want to start with? Do we want to start with Ant? Because I think Ant's the most interesting one.
Now let's do it.
Worst.
Let's do it.
In other words.
Okay, so prediction number 1 was Heyman has a big 2019 and creates a new faction.
Ooh.
No.
Kind
That was
of.
he gets 50% on that, 50%. I'd say.
Yeah, because he was hired as the executive director for Raw, but he just remained as Brock's mouthpiece. Yeah. The next one, Chris Cyborg versus Ronda Rousey in the WWE.
Damn. Do not want to see that at all, ever.
It looks just so bad now.
And every time you look on Twitter, she's trying to get booked by WWE. I hope they're just looking at it like, oh,
it's
no.
Pathetic.
It's really
so
sad.
Pathetic.
Real sad.
Yeah, Ronda left after Mania, so that also didn't help either.
Yeah. No chance.
And the final one, the shot in the dark, was Shawn Michaels has his first singles match in a really long time in 2019.
Oh.
Damn, I thought we were somewhere close to getting one.
Very close.
Very close.
Damn it.
He took that Saudi Blood Money tag match, but stayed out of the singles territory.
Damn it. But that's a hell of a prediction, honestly.
Yeah, that was
to
good.
be like, Shawn Michaels is getting back in the ring? Holy shit. I got to give you at least 70 points for that.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So we're gonna give out of 3, we're gonna give Ant 1 because he was half right on 2 of them.
Yeah,
I
there
would
we go.
definitely take that.
All right, let's move on to Rich.
Chris Cyborg. Oh my god.
You know what? I should get 0. That was such a bad take. Just don't give me a point. It looks so bad right now. Ronda looks bad enough.
Oh,
I really wish I would have taken a photograph of my face when you said that originally, because I can remember me being like,
What was I thinking?
I don't know. It's great.
Okay, let's go to Rich's predictions. The first one, Randy Orton wins the WWE title.
Should have.
Didn't happen.
He didn't the whole year?
Didn't
That's
the whole
impossible to do. They have 2 titles, and he couldn't win one?
He almost beat Kofi.
Damn.
Yeah, that's as close as it got. He faced Kofi for the title, but he didn't win it.
He should have won it, brother,
Yeah.
at some point.
Let's see. The next one was Seth Rollins has an extended title run lasting nearly a year. Didn't happen. He had multiple title reigns, but yeah, no single long one.
Damn.
Poor Rollins.
He kept up his streak of losing on Twitter, though, so that kind of counts.
Yeah.
I feel bad for you on this one, Rich, though, because this one, as you alluded to, kind of got busted way early in the year.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Vince.
Velveteen Dream, Ricochet, Undisputed Era, Johnny Gargano, and Tommaso Ciampa all don't get called up. And I made a point when we talked about this to make sure it was everyone. None of these people could be called up. Because I didn't want Rich being like, well, it was only one person. No. Ricochet fully called up. Aleister Black, he wasn't on the list, but he was called up. And then Gargano and Ciampa made minor appearances. So.
Damn.
Yeah.
So
they were supposed to win the tag titles until, remember, with the Ciampa that got hurt again?
Probably.
Yeah,
Always
one of
hurt,
them.
but-
They were supposed to have a match with the Revival, I believe. Fast Lane or whatever.
Yeah.
So I marked you as 0-3 because those were all terrible.
Oh, rough. Shit.
Let's-
At least I got the Jameis prediction right.
Yeah, that's true. Let's move on to Brandon. You had some good ones. Money in the Bank winner holds on to the case for an extended period of time. Didn't happen. Brock had the Money in the Bank for 56 days.
That's a lot of days. That's...
I guess we should have marked extended.
That's like 8 episodes of Raw, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it depends. So that's probably like one.
He
episode
didn't
of
hit the 100 mark. I'll take the
New Japan Pro Wrestling loses steam in the U.S. Growth down 10 to 20%. So they did have the G1 in Dallas, which was very well received. They had the Super J Cup in the U.S. They announced a U.S. division. They ran more U.S. shows this year. I'm going to leave it up to you guys whether you think that is, if that happened or not.
Didn't they struggle with ticket sales
Yeah.
in all of these, mostly?
I think there was a few in there, yeah. But I think they,
Whereas
I think
before, it was like instant sellout.
I think they sold out the G1 in Dallas, but I think some of the
Yeah.
smaller shows might have had a little bit of trouble.
Because they didn't try in those smaller shows. Yeah.
Well, they had the passport issues too. Was
That-
it
So,
the Carolinas?
so they say. They just try to pop these guys for this stupid U.S. division they're running, which no one cares about. Yeah, I'm going to take a half a point on
Yeah,
that.
was gonna say,
I'm
half
going to
a
give you a
point
half a
seems
point on that.
Really fair.
I give them 3/4.
Oh, wow. All right, and the final one, and one I'm going to mark as happened. We hear rumors of internal conflicts at AEW. So
Oh, yeah.
the two of these I mark, and they're I'm doing the little half and half hand shake motion here. The
Yeah.
one being the big one I thought that kind of counted was everything revolving around Kylie Ray's departure. There was a lot of rumors about that, a lot
Yeah.
of like what happened. Is this a situation where something happened with Cody, or did Brandy bully her out? And eventually we found out like she just left. It wasn't her thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I also marked it as out of Jericho having that conversation with the tag division and specifically calling out the Lucha Brothers for being really bad at tag rules.
Yep. I knew Jericho was going to be an issue. That guy's crazy.
I think it's good that he called them out, but again, it kind of falls still into that little internal conflicts. Oh, and then Jimmy Havoc getting beat up by Excalibur.
Seriously, what the hell was that? God.
They made a good
man.
reference to it on BTE where Jimmy Havoc's like, if I want to get drunk and have a bar fight, I'll get drunk and have a bar fight. So
That's and then you have the Young Bucks, deleting their Twitter.
Yep.
And I don't think we're actually. I mean, I think that I may have been a little early on it because I think we're still waiting on Jericho to fully mess things up.
Mm-hmm.
So when he starts touring again with Fozzy in the spring, I think that's where we're gonna really see some issues.
yeah, potentially. Yeah. Let's move on to me because I didn't have a bad year, but I also didn't have a great year either. Will Ospreay wins the IWGP Intercontinental title by year end. That didn't happen. He won basically everything else, but
Yeah.
not the IC title. No points awarded. Becky Lynch gives Ronda Rousey her first singles loss. Didn't happen. Of course, Becky pinned Ronda in the triple threat at Mania.
Oh, so close.
Very close. And then something I'm marking has happened. At least 3 notable promotions announced that they're either closing up or just completely shut down. Wrestle Circus in the U.S., Defiant, Southside Wrestling, and IPW UK all closed down over the course of the year, all of which are significant for their specific regions. So,
Yeah, I was very surprised about the Wrestle Circus thing because didn't they just like kind of close up and everyone's like, what?
Yeah.
it wasn't like, hey, we're going to be closing in a few months or anything, right?
Yeah, the Wrestle Circus situation was especially confusing because they were about to have a show, and then the talent on Twitter started announcing that the show was canceled, and then they started looking for emergency bookings. The owner went like AWOL for like a little bit, and then eventually he came back on and said like, I can't do this. It was absolutely bizarre.
No good.
And then
ROH will be there soon, brother. Don't worry.
might be in the cards for the 2020 predictions.
Yeah.
But yeah, those were our predictions for the year, so not bad.
Yeah, we need to get a little spicier next time.
Yeah.
What do we got next?
Should we go to our awards?
Let's do it.
All right. I wish we had like some fancy music to play under this, but we don't.
Seriously.
Rich was in charge of music. He just didn't know. So,
Yeah,
all right.
it happens.
So let's start with 2019's Breakout Wrestler of the Year. And we had a bunch of criteria. I'm not going to get into it because it's a lot of words that I don't want to read. So let's review last year's winners. So last year's winners of the Breakout Wrestler of the Year, I had Buddy Murphy. Rich had Jay White. and Brandon and Ant had the Velveteen Dream.
Yeah, and I feel like Jay White has definitely continued that momentum, and no one else has.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, Buddy Murphy kind of has been around, but not very present. Velveteen Dream has been out for months now, so.
Yeah. Okay.
So Brandon, you want to start us off with your breakout wrestler of the year?
Yeah, this one for me, I mean, really, I was like, it should kind of be Will Ospreay, but I mean, that's not really fair when you're that big of a name.
Yeah.
And then I also thought Keith Lee could have been for what he's been doing over the last few months, but I think it's going to be Darby Allin for me.
Yeah.
He went from like intriguing prospect to star very fast.
Yeah.
And now I feel like you have to watch him. So I'm going to go Darby Allin. He was amazing. My second place really would have been Mustafa Ali. So if he hadn't gotten hurt, I think that he would have been my breakout star.
Yeah, it would have been interesting to see what would have happened if he would have gotten that Kofi spot. Like if he would have been the one on the main stage. And then that adds just a whole new dynamic to everything that would have followed.
Yep.
Cool. Darby Allin's a great pick. Rich, you want to go next?
Oh, yeah. We're going to go with the best heel in the business, Maxwell Jacob Friedman.
Wow.
Mr. MJF.
Wow. Yeah. Maxwell Jacob Friedman.
He's fucking great.
I don't know if you know this,
just,
Rich, but MJF is better than you, and you should know it.
No, yeah.
What did he write on your picture, Jim? That
oh yeah,
he signed for you.
Oh shoot, I'm looking at it right now, but I'm in an angle. He said, so, hold on one second. Let me adjust what I'm seeing here.
I need to hear it because it's great.
To Dick Face, I am better than you. And then after he handed it to me, he told me to go kill myself.
Perfect.
Yeah,
he's great.
Yeah, it's self-explanatory. He's just give him the mic.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. He's gonna cut up crazy.
23 years old.
Insane.
Oh god. And he signed a 5-year deal.
And he's already better than about 80% of wrestlers when it comes to the microphone. His in-ring stuff still needs work, but man, he is so good on the microphone. It's not fair.
Yep.
Nice. MJF is a good pick. Ant.
My breakout guy, I'm gonna go with Matt Riddle.
Oh.
I know you guys probably, I know you guys followed him a lot closer than I did before his appearance in NXT. But he was really intriguing from the first time I saw him. I think he's really different. His name has just kind of been out there in a lot of different things. The whole Goldberg thing is funny. I don't know. He's just different.
Yeah.
And I thought he had a really good year. I really like Matt Riddle.
Yeah, I think 2019 was a very, very good year for Riddle because, as you kind of said, like, unless you were really following him on the independent scene, he might not have even come on your radar.
Yeah.
But he had a bunch of really good matches. The Takeover one with Finn, I thought, was pretty good.
I thought the Velveteen one.
The Velveteen one was
super early. That's the one I don't really understand how those styles were gonna work. They didn't make sense, and it just was awesome.
And he just seems like the most delightful of person too.
Oh yeah, his Twitter game's strong too.
Oh yeah, real strong. All right, Matt Riddle, that's good. I'm surprised no one said this. Really, he is the most over guy in the world of professional wrestling. There is nobody like him, and that's Orange Cassidy.
OC.
Oh, yeah.
Without a shadow of a doubt. On the main stage, like kind of what we talk about in the sense of like Darby Allin and Matt Riddle and MJF, like unless you were following him on the independent scene, he was a complete unknown. But as Brandon can attest to, when he came out at Double or Nothing and threw those kicks at Tommy Dreamer, a star was born. That crowd was absolutely insane.
On their feet.
On their feet. And then even if you go back to the last episode of AEW Dark, when he got potentially the hottest tag of our generation.
That was ridiculous. That was nuts. I could not believe it.
You could tell Joey Janela on commentary genuinely was shocked by how loud that crowd was. And then even the crowd, like when he hit the tornado DDT on Pac, the crowd didn't know how to react initially because they were so conditioned to seeing this guy throw a couple of like soft kicks and then just getting murdered that when he actually
he stuck that DDT.
Oh yeah,
that was amazing.
the sell by Pac was just well. And then if you look outside of AEW, Orange Cassidy was a 2-time IWTV Independent Wrestling Champion this year. He held the title for a combined 250 days, beating folks like Joey Janela, Chris Dickinson, Eddie Kingston, Kylie Ray. I mean, absolutely phenomenal. Great year for Orange Cassidy.
Super fun watching him. I'm glad he did have that.
So you
can't.
Right now.
You can definitely argue like pretty easily that he was the breakout star of the year.
Oh yeah, when you've got little kids dressing as you in the front row, like full out denim, glasses, just incredible. My runner up was MJF because again, kind of to the points Rich said, he's just so good, and I think that now that he has that national form, like it's a whole different ball game for him.
Yep, lots of AEW.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So that was our breakout. Any additional thoughts before we kind of move on to the next category?
No, it's good. I think we're seeing it basically because what we talked about in the intro is just that extra exposure that guys are getting now. We're able to see talent not having to fit that same mold as everyone else. So a lot of different styles. I think that's definitely helped as far as recruiting and looking at new prospects. So that was pretty easy to go through and find a ton of people. Picking that one or two was the difficult part.
Yeah, it really was. And I feel like a lot of these guys could have also been potentially a Wrestler of the Year candidate as well, especially if you look like Darby Allin. He had a really good run on the Indies this year as well. A lot of good things. But let's move on. No time to rest in the past, I guess, or something. Whatever. Let's move on to Tag Team, Stable, or Faction of the Year, a category that both Brandon and I believe might be the weakest category of the year.
Yeah, it wasn't fun even really looking at this, to be honest with you. Like, a lot of these guys had moments,
yeah.
And a lot of them are just like, why am I even considering looking at this person?
Exactly.
This team? Yeah.
And you look at a lot of the shows, outside of maybe AEW, a lot of the tag divisions are really weak right now. So last year's winners, for me, it was Grizzled Young Veterans. For Rich, it was Undisputed Era. For Bram, it was the Usos. And for Ant, it was... yeah, rest in peace. And then for Ant, it was Authors of Pain. Some of those did not... I think outside of Undisputed Era, some of those just did not age well.
Right. Really? You didn't like the Grizzled Young Vets this year?
I think they did all right.
Okay.
Yeah, they were okay. Of course, the Usos and the Authors of Pain haven't been around very much this year.
Right.
But, okay, so I guess, Brandon, you want to start it off again?
I do. Consideration. There wasn't a lot.
Yeah.
I wanted to look at possibly just picking a stable.
Yeah.
But just to make it easy on myself, but I felt that was kind of cheating. Like I could have gone Bullet Club or Suzuki Goon, but damn, man. I'm thinking about changing my pick.
Oh.
I'm definitely not picking Big Mommy and Nino Hamburguesa. That's not going to happen. I did not like their matches this year. And it's definitely never going to be Roppongi 3K. I don't care how good their matches are. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with the Street Profits because of that ladder match they had. And because every time they're on NXT TV, I've really enjoyed them. I think their momentum basically got cut off with this whole weird Raw run where they just are like, they were just backstage for whatever reason. They were having a hell of a year and in some really good matches. And they were really building like kind of an end zone cast, they'll never win type of thing. But I think they pulled the trigger at the right time and then just kind of some of those singles programs took over. So the Street Profits for me were the best tag team just because I wanted to watch them every time they were on. Obviously, I think the Lucha Brothers are going to be like your most entertaining. Got to watch it. We saw them at Double or Nothing.
Yep.
But sometimes they're just up and down for me. So I know that if I'm watching the Street Profits, what type of match I'm getting. It's just going to be super fun. The crowd's going to be really into it and into their characters, and I think their character development is much better than some guys saying Cero Miedo for the 55th time in 3 minutes.
And before we go on to Rich, I did have the same tag team for most of the same reasons that Brandon stated. It's just that I guess I just boil it down to the tag team I want to see most on TV, and that's who it was. So, like I said, I had a hard time picking a tag team.
Yeah,
it really stood out. It was tough.
I mean, Jim literally listed James Storm by himself as a tag team on here.
I did that a couple times when I was looking through the list this morning. I was like, oh, great. Thankfully, they're obscure enough names where you're just like, yeah, that sounds right. I guess that's a tag team. Maybe. Well, since you also had Street Profits, did you have anyone specific for your runner-up?
I had Undisputed Era on there.
Okay.
I mean, for obvious reasons.
Which iteration of Undisputed Era do you like most?
Ooh.
What two guys?
Oh.
Who has the best tag team matches?
Because I love Red Dragon.
It's got to be Red Dragon, right?
It's not for me.
Oh.
I love them, though.
It's
but
wrong.
It would probably have to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just love Roddy too much. So
Yeah, Roddy's great.
Kyle and Roddy, for me, would be the best iteration, but it doesn't matter.
That's a tough
I love those
question.
guys.
Feast your eyes, you dork. That might be my resting penis of the year 2019.
Who's next?
We'll go to Rich.
I'll go next. Mine's easy. It's the New Day.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Kofi got the Rocket finally strapped. Well, because of an injury, got the Rocket strapped on him. Got to the top. They came back. Poor Xavier Torres' Achilles. So I was excited to see what they were going to do. They were going to tease the Kofi turn, but they weren't going to do it. They were just going to keep teasing it. And then now they became the 7-time tag team champion. Or Kofi became a 7-time tag team champion as well.
Yeah. I think when you look at like their January to now, it's just solid every month.
Yeah. And my nephew literally loves them. Like,
Yeah.
he loves their pancakes. He loves Biggie's dance. He loves the Trouble in Paradise movie. He always tries to do it. So yeah, it has to be the New Day. They killed it this year.
Yeah, they had a really, even though I kind of feel like lately they kind of, even though they're the SmackDown tag team champions, right?
Yeah.
The fact they had to even throw a question mark at the end, if it's not a great indication, but they've had a pretty good year actually. If you take it as collective.
And they get their own commentator table too when they're on the commentary team.
And just something to throw out there, but didn't this seem like the year for the Young Bucks just to take over?
Oh my God, I don't even want to talk about it. I was
saying,
going to mention it.
It seemed like it was just kind of out there for the taking for them to just dominate and for everyone to go with Young Bucks.
They had so much momentum going into Double or Nothing and after Double or Nothing, they could have just kept losing to the Lucha Bros, but like after that they should have just been beating everyone. They should have been given all this time. I don't know. It didn't make any sense. I don't know what's going on, but it's more surprising to me that they're not in this conversation than any of the people we're picking that are winning.
That's what I'm saying. With nobody really there, even.
Yeah.
I'll say it was just probably their ladder match.
Not like it was tough.
That they knew their matches that I'm like, oh my God, that was dope.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's odd.
It's weird. And it also didn't help that they didn't wrestle from January until May.
But they had that run where they were doing run-ins in the Indies. That was incredible. They had this shit wrapped up by like May.
Just fell off a cliff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot. It was always like, oh, check their Twitter, see which promotion they're at next.
Seriously. It was amazing.
Yeah. And I think, although they have been losing, I think without them losing a couple of those, we wouldn't have gotten a team like Private Party, who I think might have also like been a candidate for breakout stars. But I think to Rich's point, them not having consistent matches for a good part of the year, I think also kind of hurt that because we didn't get a ton of them like we did with someone like New Day or Undisputed Era or Lucha Bros.
Yep.
Who did you have as your runner-up, Rich?
Oh, Lucha Bros.
Lucha Bros.
Yeah, they just put on crazy matches, but just the whole Jericho, like, yo, tag out, tag in thing. I was like, oh, I can't put them up top.
Yeah.
And they kind of did the little fuck you, Jericho, on this Wednesday, and like, we're testing it. on Dynamite in the opening match, but not tagging and stuff.
To be a tag team, you got to tag, brother. For me, I went with Aussie Open, whichever variation you want to use. They had a really, really good year, even though maybe they don't have the same spotlight as someone like the New Day or Street Profits. They started the year as the Progress Tag Team Champions. They won the WXW World Tag Team Championships twice. They were basically champions at any given point in any promotion throughout the entire year. And then their feud as part of Schadenfreude with Fight Club Pro I thought was really interesting, where they're battling an entire promotion for the control, very much like NWO versus WCW. Just a really solid year, even though, like I said, probably don't have the visibility. And again, this was a really tough category to even pick. So,
Who'd you have as runner-up?
I had God as runner-up.
Nice.
Because without God, New Japan Pro Wrestling doesn't have a tag division.
That's perfect.
Literally,
I love
like
it.
the fact that FinJuice, the combination of David Finlay and Juice Robinson, are going to be their opponents. Even as much as I love both of those guys, that's a division that's hurting by the loss of the Young Bucks.
Yeah,
in a big
for
way.
sure. I mean, and even if you were getting God versus Young Bucks or God versus Evil and Sonata for like the 55th time, it was still really good. So I don't know, man. But yeah, definitely props to God. Loved everything they do.
Yeah, and Tama Tonga, of course, is one of the most charismatic and one of the nicest guys I think I've ever met. So
Nice.
All right, so tag divisions done. We can move on then.
Thank God.
What do we want to move on to here? Let's go.
That's a good question.
I mean, this is the tough part. Tougher than picking the people is figuring out which categories to go next. Let's go with match of the year. I think that's
it's too early.
Too early?
Nice.
Too early?
Wow.
Too early. We got to go with
Wool.
like the wool of the year, the
Wool.
show, or the moment.
You almost could say that was an inadvertently great segue to Wool of the Year.
Yeah.
So I think this award does require a little bit of explaining, because it's kind of an inside joke to a certain extent for us. So
Yeah.
Wool of the Year is the award for the situation in 2019 that legitimately garnered a Wool reaction due to its it's
just awkward.
Yeah, it was either a negative or controversial nature of some situation throughout the year, whether it be an individual moment or something like an overhanging theme. So, Brandon, what was your Wool of the Year?
Yeah, so just to kind of give people insight here, just as to some things that were available. Joey Mercury shooting on ROH's poor management. Bully Ray confronting a fan at that Portland ROH show. Hulk Hogan actually coming back, the originator of the Wool, coming back to WWE. Moxley winning his IWGP title, then never defending it, then vacating it. Stuff like that. The wild card rule. Man, this one was tough. There's so many good ones. I'm gonna pick the New Japan announcing a U.S. division.
That's a good one.
Because that was basically just a fart in church. Everyone's like, oh, like it wasn't like it wasn't negative. Everyone's like, oh, that's cool. But it's like, you're 2 years late. What have you been doing? Like, I don't understand where they decided, what meeting, what prompted them to say, we need to start a U.S. division now. Let's do it. Like, AEW was already announced, right?
Yeah. This was. I mean, this announcement came like in the later half of the year.
Yeah. So they lose a bunch of talent, and they're struggling to sell out, shows where they don't have their top guys there, and then they decided, hey, we're gonna roll a whole ass division out here.
Yeah.
I don't really get it, and I'm not interested, to be honest with you. So I think the reaction to them announcing that was my big moment. But as a runner-up, it was Jordan Miles going crazy. Like, I feel really bad because he should not, who knows what's actually going on with him, but that was a little out of control to the point where he called Jay Lethal and Uncle Tom for some reason.
Well, and I think even to add on to a little bit of that too, especially just in the last couple days, there was that incident with Io Shirai in NXT where something racist was yelled at her. Like there's a lot of weird racist things happening potentially down at NXT, and it's really concerning right now.
Yeah. So for me, New Japan US division, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah, that's both of those are just phenomenal. Rich, what was your wool of the year?
Oh, I don't know if you guys know, I was watching Impact faithfully every week, and then them just recording a pay-per-view on Josh Matthews' phone.
Badass.
Hey, I need my phone.
Oh.
You're just like, you're a big wrestling company and you're recording it on a phone.
So much. I don't understand.
I don't get it.
Yeah,
like
that is very awkward.
Well,
like you just go back and watch the video, you're like, oh, like he just grabbed his phone and that was it.
well,
Yep.
and to make matters worse too, is they were like partnering with a couple other like independent promotions for that show. So like
Yeah.
they made them look bad, they made themselves look bad. Ugh.
What was your runner up?
It was just bad all the way together, all the way around. My runner-up was obviously the WWE 2K20.
Oh
yeah.
God, yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's not a good look. I was playing with my nephew. You couldn't, if you were a tag team match, you couldn't switch to be your tag partner. Like, what? Like, how?
It was like playing E.T. on the fucking Atari.
Yeah, so like I got the game and I was like, "There's no way it's really that bad," and it was.
It was.
And
I mean, it was a game so bad that there's now even thought that there might not be a 21. Like
Oh,
the
wow.
future is in question even because everyone was like, they really kind of shit the bed on this.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's terrible.
Yep. Ant, what do you have?
This was the easiest.
Oh yeah.
category for
nice.
me. And it was simply put the Undertaker versus Goldberg match. Not only the match, where the match took place, what happened in the match, it was all just a huge wool moment. You just wool yourself through
So
it.
awkward.
Well,
Here,
Here, Taker, wool. Taker's fighting Goldberg, wool. It was just a big wool moment. for
And
me.
then the whole Goldberg, it comes out Goldberg concussed himself.
Sounds like Goldberg. That was just amazing.
And then Goldberg, he's going to be on this Stone Cold podcast, and there's a little preview, and they're doing word association. Have you guys seen this?
No.
So Stone Cold's like, we're going to do some word association, and he's like going through these words or people, and he's like, he says Undertaker, and Goldberg goes, I owe him a receipt. It's like, what do you mean you owe him a receipt? I think he owes
killed him.
you a receipt,
You
brother.
almost killed the guy.
Like, I think you owe him some money or something. Fuck.
Years of his life.
Oh, that's.
I even have a
I'm
backup,
going
I'm
to go
sorry.
watch that. I'm going to watch that after this.
That's all I had.
No, that's perfect.
You don't need a backup with that one.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Ah, I'm gonna need a moment here. Ugh, that was good. I had a couple for my wool of the year, and it came really down to the wire. And then I had to have a very long think on it because I had to figure out like what one had the most unfortunate impact on me as a wrestling fan, and that was everything dealing with the situation around the delayed flights following Crown Jewel. I had a coworker when I walked in one day. It was maybe like 2 days after that whole situation. He's like, "Hey man, what's going on with the Kingdom?" And I was like, "Wait, what are you talking about?" Like,
Talking about Matt Taven?
yeah, he's definitely not talking about Matt Taven. He's like, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And I died on the inside. I had to sit there for 30 minutes and explain the whole situation about their flight being delayed, about all the confusion. Was it a mechanical issue? Was it a hostage situation? And then everything that led to, like, the SmackDown after, just a giant wall. Because there was so much confusion around it, and it made like national headlines, which is nothing. It's not a situation you want as a wrestling fan, because you're just like, "Ugh, God damn it, this just makes us look so bad again." So mine was the whole KSA flight delay thing. My runner up was Brock ending Kofi Kingston's title run in 8 seconds.
I'm not shocked by anything like that anymore.
No.
Yeah.
It just doesn't do it for me.
8 seconds seemed like a long time.
Yeah, it was just one of those things where you're watching it in real time. You're like, of course it happened. And
Yeah.
and even if you look at the fallout since, you rarely hear anything about Kofi's run, even though I thought it's fairly good. He's basically just been relegated back to the tag division, a tag division that is very weak and about to turn one of their best teams into a comedy act potentially. Just a giant wall. Just
Yeah, that's fair.
ugh, gross. Let's try to get some of this grossness out of our minds by talking about the moment of the year, that insanely positive thing that we thought was great. And we actually have winners from last year we can talk about a little bit too.
Yeah, let's hear it.
So we'll start with Ants because I think Ants was the most positive of the bunch. Well, I shouldn't say positive. Let me reframe. His potential pick might be positive, but Roman Reigns' health announcement.
Yeah.
That was a massive moment.
Yeah.
There's not much more you can say about that. It was just one of the biggest things. For Brandon, it was the execution and the success of All In. For Rich, rather, it was Carmella's Money in the Bank cash in.
What?
That was a good
This
moment.
guy's such a mark. Carmella's. You guys remember when Carmella cashed in? What?
Shit,
Man, it must have been a down year.
Yeah, the tough one.
it was.
It's like asking, hey, you remember when you hit 2 red lights the other day in traffic? Like, kinda. And then my pick, the resurrection of Joey Ryan, which, if you don't remember that, it involved penis druids.
Yep.
Obviously, that was the moment of the year. So let's go ahead and give Rich a chance to redeem himself here.
There we go.
What was your moment of the year, Rich?
Well, I have a couple, but I'm
Nope,
just gonna
just
run them
one.
down real fast. Number 5, Dakota Kai turning on Tegan Knox finally.
Cut his mic. Cut his mic right now.
hey. And then a couple of them just returns. Ciampa returning from his injury. Finn Balor coming back to NXT, coming back home. And then most importantly, Hiromu Takahashi coming back. And then, but the moment of the year was All Elite Wrestling officially being announced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was mine as well.
Yeah, it changed everything.
Yeah.
I remember watching it on YouTube, and I watched, like, they signed Jericho, they came out with Pac, Bad Boy, Britt Baker. They were all there, and they were like, oh, shit. And then it was at the same place that Raw was at that night. So that was the moment of the year.
I think you might as well include all those, like the press conference they had at MGM
Yep.
where Conrad asked if we were ready for something for about 55 minutes straight.
Are you ready for Revolution?
But yeah, so
Since I piggybacked off of Rich's picking the AEW one, and I thought that'd be a popular one. The other big moment for me was the women's triple threat match at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Historic moment. Good match. But yeah, them headlining WrestleMania.
and the right finish.
Yeah,
Sometimes that
seriously,
doesn't happen.
You don't usually get that, but I thought that was a great moment.
Yeah. That was a really good
Yeah,
one.
I think that was huge. That WrestleMania had some moments indeed. And I'm going with Kofi winning the WWE title. I think that was, I don't know how many decades in the making.
2 minutes.
Just to see that there's finally like, hey, I
Someone's
know
listening?
there's a black champion. Like, it's as a kid, like,
Yeah.
as I followed all these black wrestlers that were my favorites that I really liked or whatever, and just having family that's also black, and just you never see that, and it's not disheartening, but it's like your guy's never gonna win.
Yeah.
And to actually see that happen was really cool.
And the moment was so right.
It was perfect.
It just you couldn't have got any better, and it's because WWE didn't formulate it.
Right.
It was
Exactly.
so
Natural.
Yeah.
It was that situation. It was the thing that, where he's a person of color, and also that he's a really good dude that's worked his ass off for
Yeah.
a while, that's actually really good at his job too. And Daniel Bryan made it that much better also. He
yeah.
was amazing in that match and in that program. So everything from that build from Kofi getting inserted to the crowd getting behind him, all the way through to the end where he's celebrating in the ring with his family and with the New Day was insane.
And it's funny because if you were to ask before that happened or before he got hot, you know, who would be the last member of the New Day to win the title? It probably would have been him, right?
Over, you think Xavier had a better chance?
Just because he's
the
younger.
guy that Vince
just
said
because we
called Zeke for like
That's
3 months.
true. No, am I wrong? I would just think as long as Kofi's been there.
Yeah. He would have done it or not by that time. Yeah.
I'm wrong.
I would say that if you flip it to the inverse of saying, if you were going to look at those three, who would be the most likely? I think everyone would probably point to Big E, just because of his size.
Yeah.
Yeah, both of those are really good moments. I had the AEW announcement as my runner-up. It was very close. It was very, very close for me. I also considered Kofi's win, the women headlining WrestleMania. But the one I went to with, I decided to go away from it being funny, you know, because that's not, you know, I did that last year. I'm not going to just rehash things, right? So for my moment, I'm going to take you on a minor journey here. It's August 12th at the Nipton Budokan, and it's the final night of the G1. There's a 6-man tag match featuring Kenta, Yoshihashi, Tomohiro Ishii versus Bad Luck Fale and G.O.D. Kenta has just knocked out Tomohiro Ishii with Go to Sleep. It's very clear he's about to turn heel. He gets the mic, and right before he could speak, Katsuyori Shibata comes booking it down the ramp and absolutely destroys him. Like a guy we thought we would never see again in a ring after he brained himself headbutting Okada, you know, those time back. Absolutely looked like he was like ready for, like he hadn't even missed a beat. Like he had never been gone. Hit his like amazing corner drop kick, goes to put Kenta in the sleeper hold, switches up, goes to do the PK. Finally, the numbers catch up, gets laid out, and you get that amazing image of Kenta doing the pose, doing Shibata's pose, while sitting on his chest, surrounded by the Bullet Club, and nuclear heat coming from the audience there at the Budokan. It was not only an amazing return, but it was an amazing heel turn that, like, is still having some impact. Like, Kenta's right now one of the best heels in New Japan, and he's done a lot. And it was one of those things where I'm like, it's got to be Shibata and that whole situation around it, because that was no one could have expected it, right?
Yeah, that almost won moment of the year for me, I believe, last year, because he did come out.
Yeah.
You know, I think it was at the G1, but he came out, like his music hit, and he came out and kind of, you know, did this little flat back and then did his pose and kind of got out. I thought that was amazing when he did that. So this year, when he came out again and actually was in the action, that was amazing.
Yeah, looked still, like I said, looked like he'd never missed a beat. That hit that absolutely brutal looking drop kick, and you're just like, oh yeah, that's what he was like. This is something. And you could tell there's people just like probably like crying in the audience because he's so beloved there. So that was my moment of the year. Like I said, my runner-ups already. So a lot of good moments though. This was a really good year for moments in general.
Yeah.
Some other ones we could have gone with too, since we kind of broke down some of the other ones with the Wolves. How about Kota Ibushi winning the G1? Juice and Thunder Liger announcing his retirement. The amazing go home promo from Cody Rhodes for Full Gear, where he basically harnessed his dad, and probably one of his best, you know, promos ever. And then CM Punk returning for backstage, even though that's kind of been a dud. That was still a pretty big announcement.
Yeah, that was cool.
That's true.
Oh, and how can we forget Kurt Hawkins ending his streak at WrestleMania?
Yep.
All right. Moving on. Should we go to Female Wrestler of the Year?
Yes, let's do it.
Perfect. Female Wrestler of the Year. Last year's winners. For me, it was Toni Storm. For Rich, it was Ronda Rousey. For Brandon, it was Kairi Sane. And for Ant, it was Nia Jax.
Oh, Lord. Stay away from the women's division, brother.
So again, a chance to redeem yourself. Ant, do you want to go first?
And because of that, I'm going to go with Becky Lynch and play it as safe as I can possibly do it this year. I will not be jumping off any ledges this year. I mean, come on. It's Becky. I mean, what can't you say about her? She's been absolutely amazing this year in every facet. I just don't know how you go with anyone else. I mean, I know it's just so easy, but she's been that good to where you still have to pick her.
And she's still one of the most over women in professional wrestling, too. Like, you hear when she comes out, the second her music hits, you hear the crowd. It's just...
Yeah, a sustained overness. Like, for
Yeah.
how long has this been?
A year.
Yeah, basically. I mean, she's had the Raw title for, like, 285 days now.
And it just hasn't got old.
Nope.
It's just been great.
No, I mean, and she's become... She's the top person. The top person in that company. Like, if you're going to send...
Oh, yeah.
In wrestling.
Yeah.
Absolutely, she was the top in that company
Yeah.
for the year.
Yeah, if you're going to have anything, you're sending her. You're sending her to Dubai. You're sending her to any big thing happening in New York. She's charismatic. She is really good in the ring most times. You know, and then she's definitely shown that she's kind of a locker room leader now. If we look at everything that happened with the TLC match and her kind of protecting Kyrie after Kyrie got injured. Like, yeah, very strong and safe pick.
Yeah.
And I guess this is more of a personal one because I know many people probably won't agree, but I thought Bayley, like, she didn't do much, but I'm saying her big turn and shift from what was so safe and easy to keep doing. I just gave her some points for turning there and doing something different, I guess. It was so easy for her to keep going down the same path she was going down, changed it up. Like I said, hasn't been a great year as far as nothing special, but like I said, I like that she tried something new.
Yeah, I think her heel turn really helped her as a character. And remember, at one point, she was a women's tag team champion. And she won the SmackDown title. So, yeah, pretty good.
And she threw a fit at WrestleMania.
Well, Rich, since you decided to pop in there, what was your choice?
My runner-up is gonna be Britt Baker.
Oh,
She was the face of the women's division AEW.
She gets a lot of stupid, unnecessary heat for no reason.
Yeah,
On Twitter.
she's a damn doctor, for crying out loud, dentist.
Yeah.
She just has a lot of pressure on her, and I feel like she's getting better in the ring, and they put her in a lot of high-profile spots, and it feels
It's
like
really good promos too, like the
Pete Pre
filmed ones. Yeah.
So, and is she the only one so far to be on NXT TV and AEW TV?
Possibly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, she's
No,
just only going to get better.
no, that's actually incorrect. Ref Aubrey Edwards was on both because she was featured in the
That
Tegan
still
Knox
count?
package.
Yeah, so she's my runner-up, but the woman of the year is easily Rhea Ripley. Since the launch of NXT on USA, she's pinned Charlotte. She beat Bayley. Sasha was in that match, and then she was a sole survivor. Technically, she wasn't. But she was the sole survivor at Survivor Series. She won the championship. She won War Games. Her last 3 months have just been fucking insane.
Yeah, and she was good before that too.
Yeah.
Throughout the year.
And she's jacked
She's
now.
she's like a superstar for sure. Like
Yeah.
absolute superstar.
And she's 23. That's fucking
Yeah.
stupid.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like they need to give her that. 11.
They basically put any other competitor standing like face to face with her, and then the crowd's gonna pop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And they need. What did Bret Hart get in 94, 96? Well, how long was his contract from WWE? Like 10 years.
Yeah.
They need to give that to her right now.
there you go.
Give her the Mark Henry deal. No, that's good. Yeah, she also had the UK title for a short time in January. It was only like 12 days, but she
Yeah, it
still
wasn't
had
very
it.
long. I just didn't remember. I was like, just because the TV tapings and stuff. I
Yeah.
was like, technically, if not.
Her title reign was 139 days with the UK women's title, but a predominant amount of that was in 2018.
Yeah.
Brandon.
So kind of difficult on this one. I didn't want to. I mean, This is like basically going to be called the Becky Lynch Award from like here on out, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
of the impact. But since she's already been picked, I'm gonna go. No, I'm gonna go with Becky Lynch. It's just it's right.
It was
It's the
that
right-
good that I just
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's like
can't overlook. Like,
basically superstar of the year, like overall.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going Becky Lynch. My other considerations were Io Shirai, who's
Ooh.
had this awesome heel run, and
Her song's a banger.
yeah, her song's great. And Tessa Blanchard,
Yeah.
Tessa Blanchard had a really good year.
insane. She like I think that if Becky had it tailed off or had like a weird year, where it maybe only carried through half the year, it would have been Tessa for me.
Yeah.
She's about to get a 7-digit offer.
Should
She's about to be the
Should.
Impact World Champion, too, come January.
Sammy has to say about that, pal.
He's going to be standing on his back, brother, because he's getting that 1, 2, 3. My
Who've you got,
pick,
Jim?
I'm really surprised that my pick lasted because I thought this person would be picked. Shayna Baszler.
Yeah.
I'm glad you went with her because I was going to pop that question up if nobody went with Shayna. I was going to say, what the hell?
And my
She's had a great year.
So, and for me, it kind of came down to between Shayna and Becky because it's like it's been said, it's unarguable that Becky had a phenomenal year. I think
Yeah.
what tipped the scale for me a little bit is that Shayna's run this year in NXT was consistently good. She went in televised matches. She went 12-3, 10-1 in singles matches, with her only loss coming last week to Rhea Ripley. 340 of her 416-day reign happened in 2019. She beat Kairi Sane 3 times, Bianca Belair twice, Io Shirai 3 times, as well as Mia Yim and Candice LeRae. And
She's had the most dominant 2019.
And
Yeah.
and when I think about Becky, phenomenal, but I don't think outside of maybe Charlotte, the people she's defended the title have been especially strong. She had that really bad run there where they were running the Seth Becky, hey, did you know they're a couple storyline that I thought kind of devalued both of them, to which
Not her fault.
not her fault, but
Yeah, still.
as a character, keeping a kayfabe, brother.
There you go.
I thought Shayna absolutely was,
Shayna had better matches. too,
Better matches.
honestly. So
and she's
Yeah, she did.
and she's scary. She's
Yeah.
she fully personifies, like when you see her come out, she kind of has this like dominating energy where
she reminds me of like when I watch Luka Doncic. I don't ever think he's going to be that good, and he is.
Mm-hmm.
But Shayna, for me, I'm like, oh no, is this match going to be good? And it's always good.
yeah.
I don't understand why I think that every time she comes out. I'm like, oh shit, is this going to be a good match?
Well-
yep, it's going to be great.
And one of the moments, at least for her, that kind of stick in my mind is where she's like hang choking Bailey at Survivor Series. Wasn't that
Yeah.
the spot? And she just looks terrifying. And she won that match too. She was put over, although Becky ended up standing tall because Becky has to stand tall.
Yep.
Hogan got to pose.
Hogan's got to pose. But yeah, and then again, Becky was very close second. And I think with a couple more months, I would have put Chris Statlander in this conversation as well, because she had some really good intergender matches this year against a lot of really good top talent. But it was hard to argue between Shayna or Becky.
Yep.
I just want to throw a personal shout out to Bianca Belair.
Yeah.
Very good.
Really like her.
She was in that NXT Championship picture, and she's really, really damn good.
Yeah, she was trying to kill Candice LeRae in that War Games.
Yeah.
Yeah, she. All right. Well, since we talked about female wrestler of the year, let's switch over and talk about male wrestler of the year.
Yes.
So
Yes.
last year's winners, for me, Mustafa Ali. For Rich, it was Kenny Omega. For Bram, it's AJ Styles. And for Ant, it was Braun Strowman. Before we actually give our picks, I have to ask this question. Does anyone have any of these guys as their winner this year?
No.
No.
I think Kenny's had like 6 matches all year.
No.
Kenny's like not even in consideration,
Yeah.
which is the saddest thing in wrestling.
Which I think is absolutely bonkers.
Yeah.
It's incredible. For this one, I'm going to go first because I don't think there is any other answer than the one I'm going to produce.
Yeah.
I think this award has been locked up for a while now, and that person is Will Ospreay. Nobody had a better 2019 than Will Ospreay. He was the Progress Tag Team Champions for a bit. He beat Kota Ibushi for the never openweight title at Wrestle Kingdom. He went to the quarterfinals of the New Japan Cup. He won the Best of the Super Juniors. He's the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion. He beat Hiroshi Tanahashi in the G1. He ended up Super J Cup semifinalist, tied for 4th in the Super J Cup. I know that we don't like talking a whole lot about my dad and his star system, right? But if you look at the 5-star plus matches, he had 5 this year, number 1 amongst anyone rated. When you look at 4.5 and higher, 13, number 1 more than anyone else, 3 more than Kota Ibushi and Kazuchika Okada. This guy carried Bushi, a guy who is just present in the junior division, to an absolutely outstanding, yes, I would recommend watching this match. Like, and then he had like the like 30-minute draw with Pac that was really good. The great match with David Starr. Like, 2019 was his. And like I said, I think this has been locked up for a while now. And then
Didn't you see his match with Red?
Say that again, brother?
Didn't you see his match in Seattle with Red?
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, yeah. How can I... Yeah. If you haven't had a chance to see it, it's on their YouTube channel. Opening round of the Super J Cup, Will Ospreay versus Amazing Red. One of, if not the best singles matches I have ever seen in person. Absolutely incredible. And I would even go so far to suggest watch it on New Japan World to see Will's very, very heartfelt post-match speech where he puts over Red as the great he is. It's absolutely phenomenal. And,
Great pick.
And then my runner-up was, I went a bit of the opposite direction with my runner-up. I went with Chris Jericho. Everything he touched in 2019 was gold. Like I said, he sold he's selling a catchphrase for $49 a bottle right now. Like, everything he does, he's making stars out of just everybody, and he's helping AEW reach heights it might not have reached. But yeah, that was my runner-up.
Okay.
Let's go with Ant, because I don't feel like Braun Strowman had a great year, and I feel like Ant might want to also play it safe again.
For me personally, I went with Adam Cole here.
Okay.
I just thought he put together a year full of really, really good matches. Has been on top there for a while, and has kind of been the face of NXT there, man. I guess I picked him too because he surprised me a little bit. Like I said, I'm like a big WWE guy, so not big on the indies or kind of the outside world. I don't know. The guy just proved a lot to me, and I think that dude can really sell tickets, man. He's really, really good.
Yeah. Charisma, just...
Everything's there.
Unlimited like the breadsticks at Olive Garden. As the great Soul Train Jones once said. And he had I think 2 5-star matches this year as well.
Yeah, he was incredible.
Yeah.
Who did you have as a runner-up?
Just for the moment itself, and I know it's not really 2019, but I had to throw Kofi in there. Although it was a lot of 2018, right?
No.
Or was it 2019?
Yeah, because it was all...
Yeah, most of it was.
Okay. Yeah, so I threw Kofi in there for, didn't he, what was he, 180 days as the champ?
Something like that, yeah.
And that was did that go into 2018?
No, he won that at
Maybe,
Mania. Yeah.
Yeah.
So 180 days with the title. I mean, he has to be up
pretty
there.
damn good.
Great year.
Yeah, he really did have a solid ass year. Yeah. Even like post that, doing the tag stuff again, he's just been so consistent.
Yeah.
I agree. Rich.
This was a 3-horse race. Third, I'm gonna have to go with Jericho. He's just been great. He reinvented himself. He comes out. He created the Inner Circle. He even got to pick who he wanted in there, and he struck gold with it. Because they wanted to give him Lucha Bros. He's like, no. He's like, I need fighters. Like, give me LAX, or what are they now? Pride and Powerful. And then he picked Sammy as his person, and then he got Jake Hager. Yeah, I was like, it's just a weird combination of people, but he makes it work.
Yeah.
And everything, any bubbly, anything, anytime he gets the mic, something fire comes out. So he'd be my third, and then it's Ospreay. His matches were insane, but he just didn't have the stories like Adam Cole did. That's why he's the wrestler of the year.
Oh,
Like his trilogy with Gargano, he has the best super kick in the game. His match with Daniel Bryan, he pinned Daniel Bryan. He beat Finn, of course, and then he's great on the mic.
just a great year.
He's
Man.
just the undisputed era.
Yeah, he's the Undisputed Era is like the top faction. He's just great, and I don't know. I hope he just
He's
stays.
Mr. November.
Yeah,
was
Mr.
one of
November.
the most incredible runs I've seen in like 5 years.
Yeah.
Just like, Adam, we need you here, and we need you here. We also need you here, and could you be here tomorrow?
Yeah.
And you're going to wrestle on all these days.
And he did that all with a broken wrist.
And yeah, and they were all good.
Yeah, and he did the GIF of the year with Keith Lee
Yep.
Yeah.
when he was crushing him into the crowd.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna go with Adam Cole.
Okay.
Yep. Good. Brandon.
So Adam Cole was my runner-up. It was very close. Basically, it just popped. Really, like I said, that November run was like, holy shit! How can you not consider this guy to be
Yeah.
the best in the world right now? There's really nothing that he did wrong, honestly. When I watched Will Ospreay this year, I don't think I've seen anything that good since Kenny really started getting going.
Yeah.
That I went back and watched these matches because I didn't have New Japan and I stayed away from it this year, and I don't even know what to say, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
that dude is out of control. He's gotten so much bigger. He's added some nuance instead of, just, hey,
Yep.
this is Will Ospreay. Here's what a Will Ospreay match looks like. And he had some hard-hitting marathons that I just didn't know. I didn't know he could get to this level. And I don't know what anyone else is going to do to be better than him. Basically, injury is the only thing that can stop him from repeating, I think, this year.
That's what I'm saying. To do all he does and stay relatively healthy,
Yeah.
is just insane. It's almost impossible.
Yeah, and obviously he had health issues this year, and he still is absolutely killing it. I couldn't, just like watching some of these matches, I was stopped what I was doing and was like, okay, well, I'm going to watch the rest of this because it started off so great. I don't know how I didn't believe really what I was seeing. Like when I was looking at the ratings or listening to people talk about his matches, but that was a hell of a year. So I can't really deny it. Even though Adam Cole's my favorite wrestler right now, Will Ospreay is pretty much untouchable at this moment.
He added so much to his arsenal without losing anything, which
Yeah.
is absolutely, because like you said, he put on a lot of size this year too, and
Yeah, he looks like younger, like early Bullet, like not early Bullet Club Kenny, but early like main event Kenny.
yeah. I mean, he had those multiple runs where he kind of flirted with the heavyweight division in the New Japan Cup and the G1. He had an incredible match with Lance Archer. I don't believe I'm saying that, but I'm saying it. Like,
Yeah.
not a guy you'd initially be like, oh yeah, Will Ospreay versus Lance Archer. That sounds like a banger. Like, but it was, and it was one of the highlights of that Dallas show too. The guy just another level.
Yep.
And not to go off on a tangent, but man, I was really hoping to be sitting here and saying it was going to be Kenny Omega. Getting on TV and exposing himself to a national audience. It just didn't click for whatever reason. But
Yeah.
I'm hoping for a great 2020 for Kenny Omega.
Me too. I was hoping, and I would, to a way lesser extent, Okada had that kind of weird beginning of the year, and then he gets, he got the title back, right, and then it wasn't really that cool run that he's had before. But I think his presence, you can still feel every time he comes into the ring, or like his entrance, his music, everything is still there. And he's had some really good matches. He just didn't have like the complete year, but it's really weird to see both those guys not really like top.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, and it's one of those things where Kenny did have some pretty good matches. I thought his match with Kip Sabian was pretty good, with Jack Evans. His match with Moxley, where you saw a completely different side of him, having to be more
Yeah.
of like a hardcore guy. I just think when you look at the volume of matches. He just didn't have it compared to Ospreay or Okada or even Coda, who I'm surprised maybe should be in this conversation, or even Jay White.
Jay White was definitely like dark horse there. He
Yeah.
was incredible.
Might be one of the best guys on the mic in general in the world.
Yeah.
Like you feel what he says, and it's really incredible. But I mean, yeah, it was just Ospreay.
Yep.
All good choices though. It's funny. We went 2-2 between Cole and Ospreay.
Yeah.
All right, so we got 2 categories left. We've got show of the year and match of the year. Which do you guys want to go with?
Show of the year right now. Let's do that.
Boom. Well, then I am going to let you lead off, Brandon.
So let me make sure that this is the right one. But
hold on. I gotta give the people last year's winners.
Oh, yeah.
I jumped the shark a little bit. So for me, it was All In. For Rich, it was Takeover Chicago 2. For Brandon, Brooklyn 4, and for Ant, Takeover New Orleans.
Yeah, those all still hold up.
Yeah.
This year, I believe it was Takeover. Was it Takeover 25?
The one in Bridgeport?
This was Gargano Cole 1.
That was New York.
Is that New York? Okay.
2 out of 3 falls.
Yeah. 2 out of 3 falls. Also had, I believe, Riddle and Velveteen on it. And I think it had Walter and Pete Dunne. With Walter defeating Pete Dunne on that super long title reign.
You say Dream versus Riddle?
Yeah. And also the the 4 women title match.
Baszler, Belair, Sane.
Yes. Yeah.
Is it a triple threat or 4-way?
I think
That was
it
4-way.
was 4-way. It was Sane
Okay.
and Io, I believe.
Yeah, and
Io and Sane did the thing where they like did the baseball gimmick. I don't know that Cole and Gargano match, if you remember, wasn't even supposed to happen. It was supposed to be Cole and Ciampa. Ciampa gets hurt, and
Yep.
they basically threw together a package before that pay-per-view happens. Adam Cole comes in, and they put on probably one of my favorite matches ever. In that 2 out of 3 falls, just like really brought me back into wrestling. So that was my favorite pay-per-view. I could watch that all day.
Yeah,
I'm with.
Oh, go ahead.
Oops. Sorry, I just wanted to add on there. I was with Brand 100%. I just kind of went down that show just match by match by match by match, and they were just all hard hitters. They were just all great. Just a great pay-per-view.
Yeah, there was no break.
There was no way I could go anywhere else. I mean, for me personally, like I said, I'm a big WWE guy, so this just far and away was the best pay-per-view. Just amazing.
Yeah, it was a pay-per-view that also, I'm surprised no one's mentioned it, but that show opened with War Raiders versus Aleister Black and Ricochet as
Yeah.
well.
Oh my God, that was
Yeah,
great.
War Raiders getting down. That was great.
And I mean, I was at Double or Nothing with you, Jim. It was a really good pay-per-view. I think a lot of people are putting into, I don't know, it's just like the feeling of Double or Nothing, not necessarily the content that was there. It was really good. Definitely a contender for show of the year for me. I'll put it as my runner-up.
Was that coming off the announcement?
Yeah, that
That
in
was their
Vegas.
first one. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that had huge buzz.
Tons of moments, but I just think if I were to sit down and watch one, if I had a choice, I'd have to go with this takeover.
Yeah, that makes sense. What was your runner-up, Ant?
I did not. My bad. I did not have a runner.
Wow.
I was so
focused on that
mesmerized
one.
with that New York show.
Yeah, that makes sense. Rich?
I was gonna go with the Takeover New York as well, so that'd be my runner-up. But my show of the year is easily Halftime Heat.
Oh,
Nice. That was
That was
awesome.
good. That was good.
It was Velveteen, Ricochet, Aleister Black versus Cole and DIY
Yep.
in NXT. It was a different setup than they usually run. Well,
Yep.
they just had a different. They had bleachers and stuff, and or on the camera side. So that was my favorite match.
It was all finishers. It was great.
Yeah.
well, and then also the crowd was just
Hot.
employees and their family.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
could see Shayna Baszler like sitting in the back, like watching,
Yeah.
which is kind of cool.
Yeah. And it was better than whatever halftime show we got
Yep.
for the Super Bowl.
Exactly.
I hope they do that this year again.
They better.
They probably will. I would assume so. If they really want to spice it up, they should put a title on the line too.
Oh, now you're getting crazy.
Getting a little too intense. So my choice is Double or Nothing, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that I was there. It was consistently a really entertaining show. Like, it started off with the battle royal that involved the aforementioned Orange Cassidy spot that Brandon lost his mind for, by the way.
Yes, he did.
Was that the first time you'd actually seen Orange Cassidy?
I've seen him in a match, yes. I had basically seen him do other stuff, but seeing him in action, so to speak.
I just remember, I think one of the reasons why I put this as mine is I can just remember you losing your mind as he's just meandering around the ring.
Yeah, he was just walking around the ring and then he sat down and I was just watching that.
It had the good, that also had the good Michael Nakazawa spot where you get the first introduction of him using baby oil.
Yeah.
Which was fun. But that card, I just had a really, really great time. There wasn't a single match that I was like, I didn't need this. The crowd was hot for everything. You got the really good Joshi 6-woman tag match.
Yep.
You've got the 5-star Cody versus Dustin match that was very WCW and had that good moment right at the end where he's like, I don't need a partner, I need a brother.
Yeah.
And then the AAA World Tag Team title match between the Bucks and the Lucha Brothers, the Jericho Omega match, and then, of course, the moment that really sent ripples through the industry, Jon Moxley showing up, coming through the crowd, throwing Kenny off of the giant poker chips. And then, of course, Brandon exclaiming, basically that every time he goes to Vegas, Jon Moxley shows up.
Yeah.
It's really funny.
For real. It was great. Nope, yeah, that was just a fun time for sure. Yeah. I just, I think when I see those other matches on TakeOver, I'm just like, these are amazing matches. There was a lot of good stuff in Double or Nothing for sure. I think that the Kenny Jericho match, you'd kind of seen it before. It was still good. It wasn't great, and I wanted a Kenny Omega match.
Yeah.
For that blowout or for the main, and then Kenny kind of gets his ass beat even more after the main. So it's like, damn, all right, no Kenny.
I think I was able to, because of the aftermatch stuff, I think I was able to forgive it a little bit for not being maybe better than the first one.
Right.
But just an awesome pay-per-view, and even better because I got to hang out with Bram and Sasha at it, which is something I rarely get to do when I go to shows, as in will be the case when I go to Revolution in February. So,
you never know, brother.
Well, sold out, brother. You're gonna have to go to the Lavender Festival, I guess. Had to. Sorry, Ant. My runner-up was New Japan's domination at Osaka-jo Hall. That was the pay-per-view that featured Okada versus Jericho, Naito versus Ibushi, Ospreay versus Dragon Lee, where Ospreay wins the IWGP Junior title. Tomohiro Ishii beat Taichi in a match I really enjoyed, actually, which was weird. It was just one of those things, if I'm going to look for a New Japan show, that's the one I really want to look for. Because Wrestle Kingdom was a whole lot of, we're about to leave, so we're doing the JOB.
Yeah, what the hell, man? And that's another thing with Kenny and I don't even. Yeah, we'll get into this in the next category.
Yeah. So that was mine. That was my runner-up. I just thought it was a really, really good show, and one I'd probably go back and watch again. All right, so I guess, is this the most important category of the year?
I think so. I think Match of the Year definitely is, because it's that's the one thing you're going to take from this year and watch again, probably, or show someone.
Absolutely. Let's start with Ant.
Did we have last year's?
Oh, shoot, yes. Again, getting ahead of myself. So last year's winners for Ant. Is this Ant? Yes, I think it's Ant. Gargano versus Ciampa from New Orleans takeover. Brandon had Kota Ibushi versus Hiroshi Tanahashi in the finals of the G1 Climax 28. Rich had the Adam Cole, EC3, Killian Dane, Lars Sullivan, Ricochet, and Velveteen Dream ladder match from New Orleans. And then I went with a personal favorite, which was the Calamari Catch Kings versus Sexy Star from the Progress Coast to Coast Tour.
Perfect.
Who would have thought that a year removed, EC3, Lars Sullivan, and basically Killian Dane would be nowhere near anything. Legitimately anything.
Yeah, for real.
All right, so Ant, you want to go first?
I went with Gargano versus Cole at that New York show. The 2 out of 3 fall match was amazing. But as far as like a personal favorite, I know it won't be everyone's favorite, but just for what I look for in a wrestling match, I really my favorite match was the Cody versus Dustin match. Actually,
it was good.
You spoke to it. It just brought me back to like an old school feeling. I don't know why. They got some good color there.
Too much, damn.
Like I said, it wasn't, the craziest off the top, bro. I don't know. I just loved what the story was and the execution of the match. Just one of my favorites. Like I said, won't be everyone's favorite, but it just brought me back to like an old school WCW feel. I just loved everything about that match.
Talk about the Gargano and Cole match more, though. I want to hear your thoughts on that.
I mean, what is there to say about that match? Everything was just so crisp in that match. Everything was like, I'm trying to like the way the crowd was kind of interacting with them as well.
Yeah.
Everything was just perfectly timed, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It just left jaw dropping.
Yeah, it felt like that match felt like a movie to me.
Yeah, maybe
like
that's what I'm trying to
experience.
say. Somehow it was just, like you said, it's like they did it several times. Like that entire match, somehow they did it several times, and then they went out that night and just executed it perfect.
Yeah.
So I don't know how else you could do it that good.
And just that thrown together, honestly.
Yeah, and like you said,
So
it wasn't even
crazy.
supposed to happen.
The last fall, like the last 15 minutes of that match were, I don't know.
Intense.
It's almost unbeatable.
Like you said, a movie, like a
Yeah.
scripted movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. For me, I felt like it was a little, maybe too much towards the end, but
Yeah.
it was still a very, very, very good match and very much worthy of being in that match of the year candidates.
Yep.
Brandon, you want to go next?
Yeah, so TakeOver New York, that same match was my second player, my runner-up. That, like I said, that match really got me to start watching wrestling again because I'd taken some time off of it, and I was just in disbelief. Like the end, there was a lot of there's the false finishes and stuff. I think that really it just made Johnny Gargano look awesome, and I really at the same time would have loved if Adam Cole just won. So either way, I'm like, okay, both these guys can win, and it actually turned into me just like I want Johnny to win now. Like all of a sudden, I want him to win. Like Ant said, the execution was incredible by both guys. You can tell they just are both fantastic wrestlers, and they didn't have to do a bunch of crazy stuff to get over. They just had an insane wrestling match.
Yeah.
I wasn't looking forward to Ciampa Gargano again, and then this happened, and it's like it was a dream come true.
And sometimes those like 2 out of 3 falls matches can feel like a certain type of way because
Yeah.
it's coming.
Yeah.
And they still made it suspenseful at around every corner. I don't know.
Well,
Yeah.
and you have to consider too, in the bigger context of the time, 2 out of 3 falls matches were very prevalent in the WWE because Vince was absolutely convinced that they needed to get around the commercials.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is very
God,
true.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yep. So my winner, the G1 Climax Day 16. No, sorry. Best of the Super Juniors Day 15. Will Ospreay, Shingo. That was the best match I've seen in like maybe 2 or 3 years. That was insane. when Shingo jumped over he jumps over the top onto Osprey and basically lands on the fucking guardrail.
Yeah.
Like that. So it starts out like Osprey's kind of dominating the match, but it's a slow start, and they're like kind of feeling each other out. Osprey starts dominating the match a little bit. Shingo's getting super frustrated, like he's powdering out. He's kind of looking around like, okay, I got this. Don't worry, don't worry. Then he takes over and like is just a badass. Like he looks like a badass, and he started fighting the way he looks. Like he looked like a tough motherfucker, and he was beating the shit out of Osprey for a while. He starts pulling out crazy moves. They have that sequence that went viral, all over the place. That was the most fun match I've seen so long, just because of the style. You can watch like Okada and Kenny, and I feel like you got to sit down and kind of really appreciate it. This was like you just turn it on and it's like, okay, this is great immediately. So that was my favorite match to watch.
That was so
that's number
amazing.
one also for me. Sorry,
Rich.
I have 3 runners-ups real quick.
Whoa!
I'm just gonna
Jesus
run through
Christ.
them real quick. The trilogy of Adam Cole and Gargano. Ibushi versus my favorite Jay White in the G1 finals, and then Shingo and Osprey. That match was fucking insane. As Bram said, it was insane. Like I was like, holy fuck! But it wasn't even the match of the year.
No.
The match of the year was New Japan Pro Wrestling G1 Climax Day 13. Sonata versus Okada.
Oh,
That match, that Meltzer, you get your eyes checked. That was 6 fucking stars. Go back and watch it. That match was insane. Because I watched all those. I watched Sonata, Osprey. I watched all those matches. I don't know, for some reason I watched them all in one day, back to back to back, and then I watched that match last, and I was like, holy fuck, that match was insane.
I've not seen that match. Explain it to me. What kind of made it so different? Was it just hard hitting? Was it?
What's his name? Fucking Okada with his damn wrist lock, and they were just Sonata just kept countering it. He had his damn moonsault, which is like I didn't see that man hit another moonsault. That's the fucking looks like $1 million. And he pinned Okada, so that popped me, and because he never gets to pin Okada, I feel like ever. That man should be the champion already.
He'll get there.
Now he's already hurt again.
He'll get there. Don't worry.
God.
He's winning the G1 next year.
I hope so. Well, they want to do that program with Evil, so we'll see.
Yeah.
But that was the match of the year. I don't know why, but all of a sudden I just like when people they get control. Maybe it's just Kevin Kelly. They have control with the wrist lock, and he has control of the match.
Yeah.
And then just Okada just trying to hit the Rainmaker.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okada's just a great storyteller. I wish that Omega would just let him go one more time.
Yeah.
Give them an hour and a half. I don't know if Kenny can wrestle that long anymore.
Right.
But
No, that's a good pick.
yeah,
for sure.
that match was insane. I loved it.
as is everything in life, risk control is important. For me, I had some troubles with this one. Well, kind of. Because of all the traveling I did this year, I had the opportunity to see 2 5-star matches. The aforementioned Cody versus Dustin Rhodes, and also the absolutely bonkers ladder match from All Out between the Lucha Bros and the Bucks, where I legitimately thought Nick Jackson killed himself when he went over the top rope.
Yep.
But both of my matches, my runner-up and my main match, involve a common denominator, and that's Will Ospreay. My runner-up is going to end up being the Super J Cup initial opening round match versus Amazing Red. I've already gushed enough about it. I don't really need to go into it any further. My winner, though, I'm agreeing with Brandon. It is Will Ospreay versus Shingo Takagi. And it's not even close. Not even remotely close. That match involved so much. You've got 2 guys who are junior heavyweights? ?
Right.
Takagi doesn't look like he should be a junior, but he
No.
moves like a junior. And then you have Ospreay, who is a junior, who looks like he should be a heavyweight and moves like a heavyweight. And also just going into the Bosa final, the overarching story that both were telling. Shingo was on a 92 individual win streak. He was 9-0 in the Bosa. he averaged about 15 minutes a match. And you look at the other side, you have Ospreay, 7-2, averaging 21 minutes a match. Like, that 6 minutes might not seem a whole lot, but when you're going like night after night, it adds up. It adds up on a physical toll. That match, that final went 33 minutes.
Ooh.
It was insane.
Absolutely insane. You had every combination, as Brandon said, that incredible gif of that speed beyond belief being shown out of the two, of just the reverse counter dodge, dodge, and then Shingo jettisoning himself into Kevin Kelly's lap, basically, on that tope. It's one of those matches that absolutely you're going to point back to and like, this is a match you show someone who's just minorly, casually interested in wrestling and be like, hey, you want to see some really cool flippy stuff that also involves people potentially breaking their necks? Cool. Let me show you this. Just out of this world. And then, of course, it just was a nice, the number one spot there for Ospreay for his year, where that's the highlight match. We talk about it for like regular, other professional sports. What's that Hall of Fame moment? What's that key moment people are going to go back to and be like, this was the moment you knew this guy was an absolute star. And that's how it felt with that match for Ospreay. And to a certain extent, Shingo. He's still very good, still kind of up there, could be a heavyweight contender down the road, but absolutely just unbelievable. You don't look at your phone, you don't write any notes, you're just locked in the entire time. Incredible.
You covered it exactly how I wanted to, so that's perfect. I'm glad you picked that, because I really didn't know which match you were going to go with. I thought it would be one of those, and I kind of was going to go dark horse Jay White Coda with you, but I'm glad you picked that as well.
I really did like the Coda versus Jay White, especially that moment, and it kind of was a gifable moment as well, where Coda lays in that palm strike and White just drops like a sack of potatoes,
like a dead man.
yeah, like someone should have asked him if he was dead or not. Like,
damn it!
Is it weird or interesting to you guys that not one person called out a single match from a WWE like main roster?
Not at all.
Or anything like that?
Not at all.
No.
They're not. They just don't produce those.
They don't let them.
Even with you have the AJ Styles, you have the Rollins. Like those guys are usually good for one a year, right?
I think Rollins,
like, someone
Styles,
will give us one.
Rollins and Styles was good.
Money in the Bank's probably the only one that would. But
yeah,
I don't know. I just thought that was interesting. Not one even mentioned.
Yeah.
Well, and I think if we even look back to the Kofi Daniel Bryan match from WrestleMania, it's one of those things where it was an instance of, is the moment bigger than the match itself?
Yeah.
Like, am I going to go back and watch that full match, or am I just going to watch the last 5 or so minutes to watch Kofi win that and all the reaction from it?
And looking back, I asked myself those same things, and a lot of times you're right. It was the moment was a lot bigger than the match was. Interesting enough. Especially, I thought that about the AJ Rollins match. I thought it was good, but I don't know what everyone expected and was looking for was a lot bigger.
Yeah. Well, and you could even put that to the women's triple threat, just because we did have that kind of awkward pin. Again, the moment was great to see Becky holding up the titles and everything, and getting to see the women actually headline the biggest show of the year. But the match was just, it was okay.
It was good, yeah. It was just good.
It was just good.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, but those are all the matches we've said are absolutely phenomenal. And if you're listening and interested in getting into pro wrestling, you should definitely go check them out.
Yeah, all of those. Just watch all of them. They're great.
Yeah.
Did anyone have a match that was maybe you thought you would have heard someone bring up? Like, Brandon, you kind of alluded to potentially me bringing up White or the White Ibushi match. Was there one where you're like, oh yeah, someone's absolutely going to mention this?
No, because I thought maybe Ibushi and Naito. I didn't like it because it just looked too dangerous, to be honest with you. It was like, honestly, I was just like watching it. I was like, okay, I don't really want to watch this. Because because it was just kind of stupid.
You don't want to watch broken necks.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, I don't know. It's kind of the same reason I don't watch like backyard stupid shit wrestling, you know?
Yeah.
Because I like both those guys a lot, and they're super talented, and they don't need to do dumb stuff, you know? So that one I thought maybe someone would pick because it was still, you know, really entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
And then probably the Double or Nothing tag match.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The ladder match.
That would have been... Was that... No, that wasn't a ladder match for the AAA titles. Was it, Brandon?
No.
No. That was for the titles, but it wasn't the ladder
Yeah,
match.
and it was really good.
Yeah, that Canadian Destroyer on the apron. Yeah.
So, I mean, there was tons of good matches this year. So, I think those are ones that I thought maybe.
A lot of people at the moment I remember seeing on Twitter, and I didn't see it, but we're bringing up the NXT UK Walter versus Tyler Bate match.
Yeah.
I didn't
like
forget
I said,
about that match.
I don't remember it. I don't know if I've seen it, but I just remember at the time, and I wrote it down, that a lot of people were talking about that match being amazing.
Yep, Gargano Ricochet also, I remember from Phoenix.
Oh, yeah.
Is definitely worth going back and watching.
Yeah, I think for the Walter Tyler Bate match, it got a 5.25 out of Dave.
Jesus.
Like
Okay.
it's one of the highest.
Old school.
Like, yeah, he likes that kind of old school type
Gotcha.
stuff from time to
Might go home
time.
tonight. Watch it.
But I think maybe why, to kind of go to your point, it kind of, I'll say it kind of falls by the wayside, is because it was part of a weekend that was absolutely stacked. Like All Out was that same day. You had New Japan Royal Quest that happened that same day. Like you had 3 major pay-per-views happening within the span of 24 hours. So I could see it very, very easily becoming like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Huh.
Interesting.
But yeah, really, really good match. Definitely worth going back for.
Oh yeah, that match was good. And that tag team match, the Grizzled Vets and was on that card as well.
Mustache Mountain?
Mustache Mountain is really
Was
good.
it?
Yep.
Are you sure? They
Wait,
couldn't have been on the same card, right?
No, it wasn't Mustache. Who did the?
It was
Oni
Grizzled.
and Danny Burch?
It was
Or
Grizzled Young Vets versus Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan Webster
Yes.
from Takeover Cardiff.
Yeah, that match was really, really, really good too.
Something I kind of know, and maybe this is just me scanning the page, but a lot of these matches happened in July and August.
Yeah, for real. Prime time. That's the only time I'm going to watch wrestling from now on.
Well,
Nice.
That's our awards.
That's perfect. That's a good way to wrap it. Tons of stuff to watch, and we'll see what happens. We slowed down on the wrestling podcast because I don't want to put out shitty content where we're half-assed able to do it. So just doing these check-ins is kind of fun. So I think we should check in maybe towards a little bit towards the beginning of the year as things kind of settle in. Maybe right after towards Wrestle Kingdom right afterwards, so that we can maybe get some new predictions in.
Yeah, I mean, and to your point, Brandon, I mean, one of the tough things about trying to do something like this is stuff happens every day.
Yeah,
Yep.
seriously. There's every day there's like a new. It's ridiculous. You got to pick 2 and roll with it.
There's something new happening every single day. I'm even like quickly trying to scroll through Twitter to see if there's anything, like if anyone said anything stupid or like
Racist.
anything that's come up.
Well, Joey Janela said that he did say he's dropping nudes in 2020.
Nice.
Oh
Perfect.
yeah,
We gotta-
probably related.
That was going to be one of my predictions. Yeah, no, I agree. But we'll try to keep up at least 2 quarterly check-ins, and then we'll go from there. Especially after you go to like a big pay-per-view and stuff like that.
Takeover Portland.
Yeah. Takeover Portland.
Yep, I'll
Who
be there
knows?
for Takeover Portland and for Revolution, as well as just a bunch of other shows. I think I went to like 50 some odd shows this year, if not more.
And people should check out your Insta.
Oh yeah, my new wrestling themed Instagram that
Wrestling photography thing.
yeah, wrestling
There you go.
photography themed, which features one picture that I only have 4 likes on, but Shane Strickland has about 1,000.
Shane Strickland stole it from you. That's how damn good it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to follow the new wrestling themed Instagram I have, you can find me at WresOwl, WRESOWL. It's obviously wordplay and I have a thing about hating owls. I think they're the worst things in the world because one attacked me once.
Damn.
But I'm running with the Batman theme because in Batman Begins he got attacked by bats, and I'm pretty sure he hates what he's become, and that's kind of how I feel with creating this thing anyway. So check that
People
out.
should definitely check it out. It's cool. Go give it a like and a follow, and you'll enjoy seeing stuff pop up on your feed.
Yep.
Pretty cool pictures for sure.
Yeah,
and of some guys that are going to be future stars for sure too.
Yeah, like going through some of them. I think right now I've got photos of Matt Cross from a couple years ago, Dave Turner, who is an absolutely phenomenal hoss of a man who wrestles here predominantly in the Pacific Northwest, and Matt Riddle and Shane Strickland. So
Cool
check
stuff.
that out. And
All right.
you can
You had
always,
something else?
I was going to say, if you just want to follow us in general, you can follow us at Spread Show on the Twitters, on the Instagram. Do we still have Rob running the Instagram?
Yes. He just goes around liking people and asking them to follow. It's great.
Okay. And Brandon, I don't know who we need to talk to, but we got to deal with this mark of a social media guy we have running the live tweeting. I don't know who this guy is. Holy
People
cow.
love it. People are really interactive, and they really mark out for the tweets.
Yeah. And we do have to shout out Becky Lynch. She did get us insane numbers at Comic Con.
Oh yeah, that was
that's true.
great. Yeah.
Yes,
So,
good work, Rich.
Rich.
Rich, of course, every Monday.
Definitely follow.
Friday.
Yeah.
No, I don't do Fridays. SmackDown's not very good. I barely watch it.
Hot take.
Well, Mondays. Go on Mondays, interact with us, and check us out. And just if you like to gamble, check out every week we do different pods. It's football season, so we're doing those, and then we're gonna be hopping into basketball season.
Yep.
So
and
weekly content.
And as an added bonus, breaking news. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put up our picks for our yearly awards and let you decide how right I was with all of mine.
Perfect. That works. I can't wait. We might have to sponsor it, get it out there a little bit more.
A little bit, yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for hopping on, Jim. As always, check us out at Spread Show. Give us 5 stars on iTunes and Spotify. You can get us anywhere. And make sure you ask all your friends and family to listen for no reason to. Until next time.
No Tokyo Dome.
5 stars. No Tokyo Dome.